love those as well. But yeah, man, I've been super happy. I think Neumann is killing it in the monitor game. Like their standards are so high, and I don't know, I just respect that. And they're such great engineers working for Neumann, and so yeah, it just kind of suits my personality. Like just everything in its right little place, and just like super flat, and I can hear every little thing. I like that. For some people, they're probably boring. Some people don't like real flat monitoring. But for me, I want to know that, I'm hearing it as best as I possibly can, and that it's going to translate really, really great when it leaves here. So that's like one of 5 elements. And when we talk about monitoring in my room, that's where I live the most. I've got the mix cubes as well. And so I'll use those quite a bit just to, like, if I only want to hear mid-range. And then I have some Bose computer speakers. I'm trying to remember the Companion 2 is what they're called. It's this, I think I've seen them in, Serban uses them as well. He has them in his room.
Oh, really?
As well for like his consumer speaker check. So that's
how does one learn more about Serban? I need to learn more about Serban.
Well, there's not much information out there. It's just
not much out there, right?
I saw a picture one day and I was like, oh, Serban's got these Bose things. And John, is it John Haynes or
yes, that sounds right. People have been talking about this thread on Gearspace.
Yeah, oh, that's a great one. Yeah, it's like goes on and on and on.
I need to actually check it out.
Yeah, someone should just turn that into a book, because I mean that's what you give the kid that's just like going into audio school. It's like, this is one of our classes or something. Yeah, but no, there's a lot of good information there, and I think at some point he mentions also at the end maybe checking on the Bose whatever PC speakers, and so I tried some out one day. I was like, oh, these are cool. Like it gives you like this hyped consumer sound, which is nothing like the super kind of flat Neumann thing or the real mid-range heavy mix cube thing. So that's like the 3.
Bose does like funny like phase things to get like fake low end out of speakers.
Yeah, that's definitely the Bose sound. So I don't live on those too much. It's just I may put the mix when I'm at the end, put it on those and sit at the back of the room and do something else and just pretend like I'm, just a consumer listening to a song. So, and then I like to check on headphones as well. I've got the...
so you got the 600s.
The Sennheiser HD600s, and I got a little bit of EQ on those as well. And then
I do too, by the way. I have the HD600s and I have EQ on them.
Yeah, it's not much. I think I used a SonarWorks profile, and then it's like 30% or 38% to be exact. I think is what it's set to. I found that that's like the sweet spot for me. And then I have a Bluetooth transmitter in here as well that I can just at any point throw on AirPods and listen to the mix. So that's like the 5 checks. I don't really do car checks or anything like that. That just... I don't know. That just puts me in a whole nother place of just too many revisions, and I don't know. I just never really know what's going on in the car, and maybe it's because I don't listen to a ton of music in the car at times as well. So for me, it's like if it passes all my 5 checks here in the studio, then it's good to go.
Good, good to go. Yeah. Got to check all the spots.
Yep.
Yeah, I pretty much just do the truth is I don't even use the Sennheisers for monitoring unless I have to. But just like I'm on Focals and the not even the expensive ones like the Shape Twins.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've just like really found that they translate so well. And so I just basically do that in AirPods.
Yep.
We're good.
The more you throw into the mix, the more it's like you're just kind of chasing your tail a little bit, I think. So the thing I like about the Sennheisers and the Neumanns, it's a good pair because they're both super flat, and so it's not like this drastic jarring kind of thing when you sometimes are in like a certain set of headphones, then you go to a set of speakers and you're like, okay, I don't know what's going on. You can transition back and forth, and and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty much the same thing, only on speakers or on headphones. So, and I don't really use headphones that much when I'm mixing. It's typically more at the end. Just the headphones, like I think the real little super detailed stuff can sometimes pop out at like low levels on headphones, or like a poor edit, or something like that. Is what I really like headphones for. But I'm 80% of the time, 80% of the time probably on the Neumanns. Yeah,
that's awesome, dude. Yeah. Monitoring is so important, and everybody's got to get their monitoring and go on. I think it was DK Waddell who was recently on the show who said like everyone has to go on a monitoring journey, and discover your thing.
Yeah, I tell everyone that stay in the same room as long as you can with the same set of monitors as long as you can. And like the longer that you have that relationship, just the more dialed in you're going to get. And I can't imagine just switching monitors in rooms, all the time. That's just going to be, impossible to know what's. I mean, anytime I go to a commercial
I think you need
studio,
at least like a month or two, right, to get used to speakers.
I think so. I mean, when I go to like do a tracking session at a commercial studio, I always have to bring my monitors with me because the room already throws me for a loop usually. And if I'm working on whatever the monitors are there, whether it's NS10s or Pro X or Barefoots or whatever. It's just like, oh gosh, I don't know this room. I don't know these speakers. Like, I don't know if I'm getting good sounds or not until I get back home. And I hate that feeling. So at least by bringing my monitors with me, I'm like halfway there. And then I have to spend some time definitely listening to some references to kind of get used to what's happening in that room. So
Right. That's super important. Yeah, everybody should have like a monitoring like reference playlist on like Spotify or Tidal or whatever you're using, and just songs that how they sound.
Yep, I take it everywhere with me.
That's how I tuned my my Sennheisers. I just use like the RME out. Like I'm an RME user, and the Total Mix has like EQ on the output, so I just EQ'd the output like 3 bands for those headphones. And I just like it was missing like 60 hertz. It was like there wasn't enough like like presence like 2.5 and 5, and so like those got boosted, and I boosted like the 6 and like 60 hertz or whatever, and then it's like, oh, this kind of sounds a lot like my Focals now.
Yeah.
Like I just did it by ear, just with like songs I really knew well.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, know your songs.
Yep,
and,
for sure.
Take them with you.
For sure.
Amazing. So I think now would be a perfect time to jump over to the Sauce segment, kind of have a listen to what you're working on.
Okay.
So you sent me a song called Stealing Time by Anna Renee.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have a listen to that for about 90 seconds and we'll chat about it.
Okay.
So
great.
Awesome.
Stealing time from the empty spaces, and when it tries to fly, let's hold it to the place we're in. You and I on different pages, when the day is night and only fences around where we used to go. It feels like time is coming after us. There's nowhere left for us to hide. It's closing in, yeah, it's catching up. It's not far behind. We've been running.
Yeah, Brent, I super dig this. Very cool. I love the vocal. It just feels like super intimate, even though it's affected.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to hear about what went on there, because it sounds like there's some doubling or something happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the drum groove comes in and knocks super hard. Yeah, very cool track.
Thanks.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about what went into it. Like, I guess we can start with the vocals.
Yeah, I can kind of start from the beginning. My friend Anna Renee, she's here in town. She's a really great songwriter. Works a lot in the sync world. That's kind of her thing. And she said, "Hey, I've got a friend out in LA doing a short film. Going to enter it in Sundance. It needs like kind of a song for this film in this very specific scene. And I have this lyrical idea. She's approved it, and kind of a melody idea. And it was just this maybe 8-bar kind of verse 1 idea. And so it started with that. And she's like, I want to be super intimate here at the beginning. This is going to be the main part that's used in the film. But let's go ahead and turn it into a full song so we can maybe use it for other things later on down the road. And so really the first step was just trying to get into her head as to stylistically, and this is kind of how it is with, I guess, every record that I do. It's like, where do we want to go with this? The possibilities are endless. And so she sent me a couple of references. A Fantagram, I think, was one, and then the other was Marika Hackman. She's an artist out of London, singer-songwriter, and they're completely different vibes altogether. And so it's like, it'd be fun to try and figure out how to like marry these two together. And so, you know, the Marika Hackman song is more of like just this real stripped down, kind of lush, atmospheric thing. And then, of course, Fantagram is more of like about that groove that you're talking about, vocal chops and just grittier, like kind of right in that in between, like the synthetic thing and the organic thing. And so, you know, the whole goal was like maybe the verses were more of, you know, at least the song starting off with this kind of super intimate vocal, which, like you said, has got some synthetic qualities as well. I think maybe... I'm trying to remember what I used for that. It might have been like the Waves ultra pitch, or maybe there was some like little altar boy doing some formant stuff. They're like where there's a duplicate, and it's a bunch of stuff. I remember like obsessing over making this gated reverb sound. I was listening to some James Blake at the time, and I'd heard some like gated reverb that he was doing on one of his records, and so. It kind of, when it came time to getting the vocal sound, especially in that first verse, I spent a lot of time like trying a lot of different things and coming up with something very unique and original. And other than that, it's just a couple synths, and it just, I don't know, it really sets a tone for the song. But
I dug the sub bass also, by the way, the beginning. And, throughout.
Once we started writing that song, she and I, it was like, okay, let's bring someone else in as well. I said, I've got a buddy, Hayden McMath, here in Nashville. He's like super cool, like DJ synth, like programmer guy. And I just think he could add a lot to this as well. It's like right up his alley. And so it's like, let's just the three of us work on this. So he came in for a couple different sessions and brought over a couple synths and maybe his laptop as well. And we just started feeding things into my computer and just started building out the track with this very basic vocal that Anna laid down. And throughout the whole song, there's kind of this arpeggiated synth, and it kind of opens and closes to kind of create like climactic sections. And so we started by laying that down, just tons of vocals on top of that. And it came together really quick. I'm probably just, I think Hayden and I did a couple of just sessions to get the track together. And then Anna came over and did the vocal. And then I ended up mixing it. I don't remember exactly how long I spent on the mix, probably too long, like every mix. An extra 4 hours to get that last 5% kind of thing. And then like you mentioned earlier, I actually mastered it as well, which is like 1 out of 100 songs usually do I master. But it just was like, it was a time and a budget thing, and it ended up turning out pretty good. I wasn't like... too disappointed with how my mastering turned out. But yeah, I think overall, I thought it'd be a fun song to showcase just because I was involved as the writer and the engineer and the co-producer and the mixer and the mastering. It kind of just, it reminds me of like we talked about earlier, how, like that jack of all trades in my early 20s where I like kind of just had to do it all, you know, to just have enough work. I mean, it was kind of like that with this project as well. But so that's just the rough idea of kind of, you know, how that song all came together.
Yeah, amazing. Well, it sounds great, and people should go check out. You know, you sent me a whole Spotify playlist, which you haven't even updated in a couple of years. So I'm sure you have even more songs you should pop on there.
Yeah,
but everything sounded great. There's tons of music.
Yeah,
tons of mixes. So people should definitely go check out your work. We'll kind of as we wrap up the interview, we'll kind of do some more generic, maybe less technical questions.
Sure.
But yeah, I like to ask people about creative, you know, energies and balance and you know, just do you have any routines, anything you do to kind of stay energized, focused, wanting to work, wanting to be in the studio, and not getting like, you know, days where we don't want to get in here and do our job? Like, how do you stay balanced and in that zone?
Sure. I love that question because that's really where my head's at right now. You know, being a husband and a dad of 2 kids, you know, time is more precious than ever before.
Yes.
So I really, I'm really intentional about every hour of my day. And